What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now, if you're a fan of cheaters getting their just desserts, then this is the episode for you. 4 stories for you, all involving terrible partners who have done, quite frankly, terrible things in their relationships. But the beauty of these stories is that revenge is coming, and it's oh so sweet. In the first story, this girl brilliantly sets her cheating boyfriend up with fake dates. It's her on a dating profile, and she just never shows up to the dates time after time while they're still together. It's fantastic. In the second, a girl and her friend combine to set up her cheating ex-boyfriend with that friend who actually doesn't like him at all, and then proceeds to just break his heart in the most malicious revenge potentially ever. In the third, this girl's ex cheated on her, so she made him think that he was being stalked on campus. Yep, simple as that. And the fourth actually involves a girl's boyfriend's sister. Not exactly a cheater, but it's still a great piece of revenge nonetheless. So without further ado, if you're excited for these 4 stories, sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into the first. I set up numerous fake dates for my cheating boyfriend. 8 years ago, I entered a relationship with someone who was almost too good to be true. He listened to everything I had to say. We had so much in common. I felt finally understood and really seen by someone as who I really am. I opened up to him more than I intended to, way too soon. If it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Now I know that what he did to me back then was love bombing. Some examples of his techniques. The second month of dating, he took me to an uninhabited island with his small boat, set up a gorgeous lunch he prepared at home, served limoncello, we went diving, and he found a giant shell and gave it to me as a token of his love. Shortly thereafter, he took me to his childhood home, showed me pictures of his parents who were deceased, and gave me his old toy he claimed was his fondest childhood memory. I was sure he was the one. I might be in the wrong here, guys, but that sounds really nice to me. I know that love bombing is a real thing, and people that love bomb do stuff like this, but are you allowed to do this and not be a love bomber if you do really love someone? Surely you are. Anyway, however, soon things started to change. At first, it was the little things. He'd make a cynical comment here and there about the way I looked or something I said, and that made me feel very insecure. He'd flirt with other women in front of me to make me jealous. I'd cry and he'd apologize and temporarily revert to his old romantic loving self. But his outbursts became worse and worse, and the amount of pleading with him and convincing him of my love was growing each time. I felt exhausted and drained by the constant need to prove my love for him just to earn a little bit of affection that he initially showed me. I once got out of the shower and caught him browsing an online dating site. He said he made sure that I saw what he was checking out to see if I get jealous and controlling again. I didn't believe him. He was actually very bad with computers, and early on in the relationship, he once called me on the phone and asked for my help with setting up an online account for playing chess. I tried to guide him through the process of setting up a username and password at this particular site, which was somewhat more complicated than these things usually are, and he grew impatient and just told me the username and password he wanted to use. I remembered that, and I tried this username and password on the dating site he visited. I immediately got into his profile, and what I saw broke me. Not only was he chatting up other women, but it was clear from some of the conversations that he had met other women and had sex with them. Some of the conversations contained intimate information about me and what he was dissatisfied about with me. What I read hurt so much that I cried on the floor like a little baby. By this point, I knew he wasn't perfect and that our relationship was far from perfect, but I was clinging on to that initial phase of our relationship, which made me feel the happiest I had been in my life. Now I had to deal with the fact that it was all fake. I cried for hours, and then something in me broke, and I decided to get even. I set up a fake online dating profile, the first of the many to come. I started chatting with him, and after a few days, he suggested meeting. I feigned hesitation, but he insisted. I reluctantly agreed to meet him in a large coffee house. I went there, half disguised, and I sat where I knew he wouldn't see me. I half hoped that he wouldn't come and that it was all just a bad dream. I called him 10 minutes before the meeting with the mystery woman to ask where he was and if we could meet. He said that he couldn't because he had an errand to run. My heart sank. So I actually called him 10 minutes before the meeting with the mystery woman to ask where he was and if we could meet. But he said that he couldn't because he had an errand to run. My heart sank. I kept my eyes glued to the door, and sure enough, there he was. He came in, sat, and waited. At first, I thought I was getting a panic attack because I was so distraught, but I managed to calm myself down. He first waited patiently, then started fidgeting and looking at every woman that came in. And then, as if by divine intervention, a woman came in who looked just as what I described myself online. He immediately came up to her and said something. She dismissed him, but he was persistent, at which point she got agitated with him and told him to leave her alone. He waited for another half an hour and then left. That afternoon, I sent him a message through the dating site that I was indeed the woman he spoke to, that I saw him, found him physically unattractive, but lacked the courage to discuss it in public, so I faked not knowing who he was. Oh my gosh. I apologized profusely and he said it was okay. No hard feelings. But I knew it wasn't okay. He was very self-aware and narcissistic. No way he was unbothered by that. So, I did it to him again. And again. And again. Sometimes he'd be stood up. Sometimes the woman would reschedule and then he'd be stood up. Sometimes she'd cancel at the last minute. At least 10 dates went south. I decided it was enough and that it was time to break up. I did it in public. I told him it was over because he was a cheating SOB. He denied everything and tried to gaslight me and spin the story as me being the jealous freak. I then looked at him and said, all those failed dates, all me. And I just let that sink in. He asked how, and I told him his password, and I left. A few months after the breakup, he wrote a lengthy email saying that what I did to him was ingenious, that it proved I was the love of his life, and that he completely lost the will for online dating because he both fears and hopes that every new woman is me. Wow. I never answered this or any other attempt he made to contact me, and he still makes such attempts even now, years later. What a story. I mean, this is just phenomenal. I don't know if online dating is that good. Some people really like it, some people don't. It's a controversial topic. I've had some good experiences and some bad experiences. Actually, not really that many bad experiences. Well, I suppose the entire question is, how does it affect society as a whole? But we're not going to get into that in this episode. The next one, maybe. But anyway, the point is, this guy is never going to go on an online dating app ever again in his life. He has been scarred in the most brilliant way possible. And he deserves it, by the way. Imagine that, like, you are on a date. Well, you're not on the date, but you think you're going to go on a date with somebody. They walk in. You're like, is that them? I'm not sure. It looks like them. You say to them, oh, are you here for a date with me? Like, Pauline, how are you? They go, don't know who that is, because they actually don't know who that is or who you are. They're just a random girl. And then later, you think that person has texted you saying, sorry, you were just so ugly in real life that I faked that I didn't know you. That is just so good. When that didn't even happen in the first place. Just phenomenal stuff. I've actually done that before, I will say, where I went on a date on like an app, and I went into this place and I wasn't quite sure if this girl was the person I was dating or not. Sometimes, same with guys, I'm sure, but some girls don't always look exactly the same as they do online, which is part of the problem with online dating, to be fair. It works both ways. You can look better or worse. You just don't know how someone actually physically looks in real life. Not that that's really important, okay? But it can be. But yeah, I actually said to this girl, are you Emily? And she was like, no. And I said, great. What a great story. I just said you look like the person I'm supposed to be dating. Then they walked in and I just dated both of them. And then I went home and just that has to be censored because it didn't happen. And also, I wish it did. You talk about commentary. You know, Reddit commentary like this. It's just top tier, isn't it? 3 more stories to come. Let's get into the second. I set my cheating ex-boyfriend up with a bisexual girl and ruined his relationship. Over the summer of 2010, I was engaged to my ex. I was young and dumb, as we've all been, I guess. I lived in Europe but visited the States every summer. My mum is from here. So my ex cheated on me all summer and took the girl to my house, telling her it was his aunt's house. I got back and I found out everything. He begged me to forgive him and take him back. Not a chance, buddy. So, we had this girl in our circle that was bi. She'd always had a crush on me, but he definitely had a crush on her. I proposed my plan to this girl. After telling her what he'd done to me over the summer, I said that it would be amazing if she got him to fall in love with her, then dump him out of nowhere. But she had something so much better in mind. So, this is as things unfold. She would console him over our breakup and tell him that things would get better. They got close and started to date. 6 months in, he told her he loved her. Such a tool. So, she played along. I had a key to his place, so me and her went over before he got back from work. He came home to us making out in his bed. He completely freaked out and started shouting insane things that only make sense in the mind of a deranged cheater. He said that I deceived him and some stuff like that. I'm laughing my butt off because, dude, you cheated on me while we were engaged. And she just stood there and said, I was never into you, you cheating frick. I wish recording these scenarios was more popular at the time because his face was priceless. I mean, this man cried. Anyway, he stopped hanging around our circle altogether. He recently sent me a friend request on Facebook 15 years later. The audacity is ungodly. I mean, this is just so malicious, but it's so good. So good. A friend request 15 years later, by the way, is absolutely crazy. Like, what are you hoping for there? Absolutely ridiculous. What's so good about this story is that, like, this girl was willing to sacrifice so much of her life just to help OP out. This is an insane sacrifice. Like, I don't know what was going on sexually, but 6 months in, surely you've had sex at that point. You just must have done. And she doesn't even like this guy. I mean, I don't know. I suppose you could because, like, maybe he's an attractive guy, whatever. And maybe, yeah, you're just like, well, I'll do it for the plot. Crazy stuff. I was never into you, you cheating F. So good. My ex cheated, so I made him think he was being stalked on campus. To this day, he has no idea it was me. When I say I don't do screaming matches or begging after being disrespected, I mean it. My ex was emotionally and verbally abusive for most of our relationship. Manipulative, cruel, gaslighty, the works. We were long distance at the time because he'd gone away for college and I was living in another state. And then, surprise, surprise, I found out he was cheating. That was the last straw for me. But I wasn't going to go out with a dramatic breakup. I wanted him haunted. So I spent months quietly collecting receipts. I paid attention to everything. The names of the girls he followed, locations he popped up at on SnapMap. He'd turned off his actual location for me, but the idiot forgot Snapchat. Bars and hangout spots around campus, mutuals, everything. I memorized names, I saved info, I was building a case file like a dang detective. And then came the fun part. I made a fake Instagram account posing as a frat guy from his school. Then I text myself from the account pretending to be some random dude saying, hey, I have proof your boyfriend's cheating on you. Of course, I was the one behind it all. The moment he saw it, he panicked, immediately told me to block the account and stop replying. He was going off. I acted confused and hurt the whole time. Oh, this is so good. Then I sent myself a long message from that fake account detailing everything. The name of the bar he always went to, the names of girls he followed, places I said I saw him at, stuff there's no way a stranger should have known. He genuinely thought he was being stalked and followed. He spiraled hard and ended up fully confessing to all the cheating and even went to campus police, convinced that someone was after him. Spoiler, nobody ever caught me. Nothing ever came of it. And now, he still tries to reach out to this day with long, dramatic apologies and regrets, and he still doesn't know that the random frat bro who exposed him was me the whole dang time. Again, unbelievable story. So clever and so good. So good. Like, if imagine receiving those messages, you'd be like, what is happening? I have to be being stalked. There's no way people can know this about me. The paranoia that you'd have walking around campus from that point onwards, or just in your life in general, I suppose. Awful. Absolutely awful. And you got away with it. Genuinely the perfect revenge. Again, so well deserved. Now for our final story of revenge. Doing small acts of revenge to chip away at my boyfriend's sister's ego. Word of warning, guys. I do apologize. This one doesn't include a cheater, but they're terrible nonetheless. So, my boyfriend's sister is a very nasty female dog of a young woman. She treats her mum like trash, yells at her and belittles her. She's honestly mean with everyone in the house, even her own boyfriend. She yells at him every day. Once, she also yelled at me, telling me that the bed I bought isn't mine and that I don't own it. Like, I freaking bought it, so it's mine? She fiddled with the bed screws, then I firmly asked her to stop, and then she went crazy. I also don't like her because she started a fight with her mum the second her mum came home from work. It was my 20th birthday that day, by the way. She's also irresponsible, lazy, and negligent. She gets so drunk when we all go out that she ends up fainting and vomiting all night long. Then my boyfriend and I have to sacrifice our entire time out to watch over her butt. She also can't keep a boyfriend longer than 5 months. That's the backstory, basically. I've thought of many ways to silently get back at her. Then I came across a video on TikTok where you can remove boxed dye with vitamin C tablets, baking soda, etc. So I took almost 10 small vitamin C tablets and I crushed them up finely. After that, I poured it into her shampoo along with some vinegar and salt. She'd been dyeing her hair black for years. Now, every time when she'd wash her hair, the dye would come out. I personally think it'll be super funny. Hopefully, it will work. Any recommendations to get more revenge on her where I won't get caught or suspected of anything? Okay, there we go. Not a cheating story as much, but I suppose it involves a boyfriend's sister and she can't keep hold of a boyfriend because who knows, maybe she might be a cheat as well. Wouldn't put it past her reading all this stuff. Ridiculous. But yeah, great revenge, and hopefully she just never has black hair again and never realizes why. In terms of recommendations, what do you think? Comment down below, guys. Let's end this episode here, but I want to hear your thoughts. What other stuff? Some clever stuff. We've seen some very clever stuff in this episode, and I think that, you know, hair dyeing is also a clever one, but yeah, what sort of clever ideas do you have, just in general, I suppose, doesn't have to be specific to this story, for revenge where you can't get caught? Like that stalker one. Like, you're never going to get caught doing that. Arguably, even like the online dating one, if you'd not said, you probably wouldn't have got caught because it could have been anybody, who knows. The bisexual girl cheating one, yeah, that's a pretty obvious one, but comment down below. What do you think? What would you do? And also, what do you think's better? Revenge where the person doesn't ever find out it's you and you just remain chilling, no suspicions, or revenge that's hard-hitting where they do know it's you and they know that you're the one that has been going out of their way to ruin their life. I don't know. I feel like the payoff is so good when they know it's you, but maybe it's more like calmly satisfying knowing that they're never ever going to know that you were involved. Let me know in the comments down below. Interested to hear your thoughts as always.